Hello, everybody. I've got a knife here, quite a big knife. It can be used to cut vegetables, or it can be used to murder somebody. And sometimes when I use a knife to cut vegetables, I nick myself, which I just did a couple of days ago. But is it because we could nick ourselves, or because some people use it in a bad way, murdering people, that we're going to stop using a knife? I don't think so. I'm still using a knife. It's kind of the same with hypnosis. That's why I made a PowerPoint to present my model of hypnosis. Let's go to it. So why do I want to talk about hypnosis? I believe that many people, like me, had a disgust for that word hypnosis. I only saw it as manipulative. I saw it as silly, like in shows where the hypnotist makes people cackle or bark like a dog. And I didn't really want to have anything to do with hypnosis until I learned better. And to help myself, I made up a model just to help myself. It's not the truth, it's a model. So let's get going. So hypnosis, like I mentioned, I only saw it as a tool for manipulation, a tool for making people do some strange things. I didn't know the other side of hypnosis. And it opened up my mind when I followed a course that it can be actually used for good. Think about it. If somebody can make you cackle like a chicken or accept ideas that you would not have accepted if you were in your right mind, what can you do if you can use self-hypnosis to make yourself go in the proper direction, to make yourself be more confident? That's why we're going to work with that. So as I mentioned, I divided into 5 categories. The first category is the dark side, is the one I did not like, but I study it because I was inducted into a cult. I had to deal with some psychopaths, and I just fell for it because I didn't realize what they were doing to my mind. So we have that dark side, propaganda, or public relations that got started by Edward Bernays, who was a nephew of Freud. He took what Freud had discovered with the subconscious mind and used it for marketing. That's what Freud's discoveries have been used mostly for, is for marketing. And I would suggest that everybody should read that little book, Propaganda. It's a very short book, but it is powerful, indicating why governments use it, why advertisers use it, because they know how our brain, our mind works, and they can make us do what they want for their benefit. So it's a very great book to read. So what has this book done, or what has Bernays done? It's because of Bernays that Americans are eating copious breakfast with eggs and bacon and pancakes. Before Bernays, they were not doing that. He explains the trick in his book, Propaganda. That's also why women started to smoke. At a certain time, it was illegal for women to smoke. If they were found in the street, they would get a hefty fine. But Bernays was smart, and he told women, oh, you want to be liberated? Have one of those torch of freedom. That's how he called cigarettes, torch of freedom. And women started to smoke. Again, in this book, Propaganda, he explains how he went about doing that. Now, imagine that beautiful hamburger. And I don't eat fast food, never have, because of health issues. I've always been into nutrition. But I imagine that a McDonald's burger would be what I saw on that picture. And one day I was driving somebody home, and he wanted to stop at a McDonald's, which I obliged. And he came back with that little, mushy bread with a thin slice of meat in there. And I was shocked that he would like that thing when I expected to see that big hamburgers full of vegetable, big piece of meat, etc. And he had just gotten into the habit of having a hamburger. How do we get this habit? A lot of time via advertisement on the television. It makes television shows out ads. Like people are so happy when they go to McDonald's, they make friends, there is happy families. Ask yourself, is that really true? Are you going to have a happy family because you eat at McDonald's? So these advertisement public relations that the Bernays invented or discovered or promulgated are used by cult leaders. They are used by the government, by the military, by advertisers for food, for drugs, and by psychopaths. People either instinctively know how to use these tools or they have learned them. And churches as well. Apparently, many pastors learn these techniques of propaganda to keep their fault to themselves. So Bernice showed American corporations how to sell a product or a service to a consumer's emotions rather than his intellect. Okay, let's take our burger example. It's the emotion of being happy of having that wonderful thing instead of looking at the ingredients and what it actually does to your health. And Bernice started to play the central role in a concerted effort by American corporations to transform America from a need-based to a desire-based society in order to increase goods consumption. Okay? If you buy more, obviously, corporations are going to make money. And Bernice did this by linking products to the irrational forces in the human subconscious, which were unearthed by his uncle Sigmund Freud. Even going to wars. In his book Propaganda, Bernays explained how to get people's mind to want to go to war, to go to the Vietnam War, World War I, World War II, all the wars. It's mind manipulation to make you want to go into a war. Mass formation psychosis, what we are living right now, collective hypnosis. How is it that so many people now have one mind of going through an agenda, whether on one side or the other? It's a mass psychosis, also called groupthink. There's an excellent book by Matthias Desmet, explain the psychology of totalitarianism. I got a hard time with this word. How does that mass formation psychosis come from? Very enlightening. So ask yourself questions when something comes up. Is this true? Is it true that a McDonald's or whatever fast food hamburger is going to make you happy, going to make you have friends, going to have a great family? Is this true? How do I know it's true? Where did I get that information? Do my sources show integrity? And did I personally research the subject? Is there another point of view? Could I be manipulated? Yeah. Do I want to eat that junk food because it's good for me or because it's good for a corporation? Are the people following it, that idea, congruent? You know, these people that are selling you junk food, for example, they probably don't eat it themselves. And who does it profit? That's a big question. So from propaganda, let's go on to movies. We have a lot of movies that have mind manipulation, even hypnosis. I don't watch many movies, so I cannot give you examples. I've seen some where you have a hypnotist that does disastrous things to his client, his patient. I'm thinking also of a movie called One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Lots of manipulation in there. The Matrix, we talk a lot about it. The Manchurian Candidate was very enlightening to me. Even The Wizard of Oz or Alice in Wonderland has some manipulative techniques behind it. So is it a scary thriller? Is it educational? Is it entertaining? Enjoy the movie, but use discernment, be observant. Is this truly hypnosis? Is it manipulation? Could I believe that? Could I be manipulated? Why is hypnosis usually portrayed as dangerous and ominous? How is it we don't portray the good side of hypnosis, like helping you be more confident, getting rid of an addiction, lowering the level of pain? that is usually not portrayed in a movie. It's usually the dark side that is portrayed. And I've been wondering why. Could it be because hypnosis is so powerful that some people don't want us to know it? Because if we could be empowered with hypnosis, what would happen to this world if we could become better people with less pain, less depression, less anxiety? What would happen? So from movies, we're going to go into stage shows, into the entertainment field. One of my mentors was Mike Mandel. He did some 5,000 shows before he retired from that. He has an academy now teaching great sides of hypnosis. So let's go to one of his shows, and I'm going to disappear for a little while, letting you watch the show. And I will also put the link so you can see it directly.
Okay, let's move on to the next step. Let's take our first journey. Everybody key into this. Breathe in, raise your hands. And no one's going to leave their chair if they're sitting. Exhale now. No one's going to fall if you're standing. Eyes closed now. And begin to relax every nerve. But stay standing, stay sitting. Get comfortable. And I want you to imagine you've got a control panel in your imagination. In fact, the control panel controls your imagination. And I want you to imagine you are seated in front of that control panel now, and turn your imagination all the way up to full power. Reach out with your hand and do that right now. Just turn it all the way up. Excellent. And then let your hand drop. That's fantastic. Immensely creative. And now with your imagination running on full power, if you're sitting, you can just stretch out a bit, get a little more comfortable. If you're standing, you sort of got to stay where you are till we get you a spot. But let's take a journey. And wherever you go, whatever we do, you'll stay in that position with no difficulty as I start to narrow the group down further and further. Imagine you are resting comfortably in a tropical forest. Imagine the light shining through the trees, the fresh, clean, oxygen-rich air. Get a good breath of that fresh air, and you'll feel just fantastic. Imagine the light, the blue sky up above, and as I move some of you back, I'll send some of you back to the audience. You can just push back, that's right. Just squeeze right through and go deeper and deeper. Imagine the blue sky up above and go deeper as you do. Some of you can feel your eyelids fluttering. That's normal. It means you're going to the next level. And as I move more of you back, the young lady standing with the purple, I'm going to send you back. Thank you. The rest of you go deeper. And I'm going to send you back as well, and you can go back to the audience safely. The rest of you keep going deeper. We're getting your final group. And you'll stay in your chair if you have one. Imagine the clouds floating lazily by. Wonderful weather. Feeling fantastic. In fact, you have inside your brain ultimate power. You are the movie director in your imagination. Let's make one of those clouds look weird. Make it look exactly like a Thanksgiving turkey with its legs sticking up. Make the cloud shaped like a turkey just floating across the sky. Let it float by. Yes. Yes. Make it float towards that oven-shaped cloud over there. And let it drift into the oven-shaped cloud. And you can wave goodbye to Mr. Turkey Cloud as the door closes on him. He's going to cook. And the rest of you keep going deeper as we get our final group and continue to go further. I'm going to send the lady here back as well. I'll send you out that way, okay? And continue to relax every nerve. You know, notice the mountain range in the distance capped with snow. They don't look as good as they could look. And you've got such amazing imaginative power now. In a moment, you're going to get a chance to change those mountains, make them look even better. So reach out with your hands, grab the mountains, just pull them right in. That's it, you're the movie director, pull them right in. And now start to mold or carve or change those mountains. That's right, make them taller or shorter, make them jagged or smooth. And as you do, second by second, it gets more vivid. Those of you I send back a release, the rest of you keep going further. Make one of them really tall. Make one of them up to the sky. Nice. Yes. And now let's paint the mountains. Make them an interesting color. As you paint those mountains, they get more beautiful second by second. Fantastic. Beautiful. Somebody's got polka dot mountain. Somebody else has stripes. And as I send some of you back, the rest of you go further and further. Make sure you got your belongings and go deeper now. Perfect. They're done. But we got to dry the paint. So just dry the paint so we can push them back. That's it. Dry that paint. We can't send them back till they're dry. We got to get them bone dry. Dry those mountains and send them way back. Dry them so we can send them. Beautiful. They're dry. Push them back. Push them way back. Nice. Perfect. Notice how much better yours look than anybody else's. Theirs actually sucked compared to yours. And I remember being in Winnipeg in 1978, weirdest thing that ever happened. Playhouse Theater, stage, nearly 7 feet high, concrete orchestra pit. And we had so many good subjects that we had the Winnipeg Free Press came out. It was a big event. We had 1,100 people for the show. And so I'm doing the show. We got all these great subjects. I thought, let's do something new and original. I said, we're taking a journey around the world by ship. Wave goodbye to your friends. So they all go into Caribbean cruise mode, and they're all, you know, this kind of thing, drinking drinks that don't exist and putting suntan lotion on, some of them putting it on each other, which was hilarious, because they're all total strangers. And then I got this ridiculous idea. I said, do you know the name of the ship? And they all, no. I said, it's the Titanic. Oh, man, you have never seen people's attitudes change so fast in your life. And they went from suntan lotion and drinks to screaming, we're gonna die! Panic starts. And one man on the end, I can still see his face. He had a green John Deere cap on, a big mustache, a skinny guy, comes over to me, he's really wound up, and he says, you gotta turn this ship around right now. I said, what's the problem? He says, I'll tell you the effing problem. He said, the problem is we're going to hit an iceberg, rip a 200-foot gash down the starboard bow. The watertight compartments are not going to close. I said, well, some other ship will pick us up. The nearest one's the SS Carpathia. They're 80 nautical miles away, steaming southwest. It's going to take them 15 hours to get here. I said, how do you know this? He said, I read a book about it. Hey. You read a book about it, you're not on the Titanic now. It's what Dr. M.T. Ornay called trance logic. You're both on stage and you're on the Titanic. It doesn't have to make sense. Cognitive dissonance. Weird. So I said, well, sit down. He runs back to his chair. He starts trying to get the seat cushion off. Flotation device under seat. I said, it's a ship, not a jumbo jet. They aren't invented yet. He goes, that's right, I forgot. Forgot they aren't invented yet. So the panic spreads. I said, we've spotted an iceberg. He's like, that's the one! Turn the ship around! Too late. Ripping down the starboard bow. He's yelling at me, this is all your fault! I said, we're sinking fast. Swim for your lives. Maybe not the best choice of words, thinking back. And at the same moment, everyone was like, ah! Onto the stage, they start swimming. Some of them actually quite well. You could tell the people who could not swim. Say, let go of my hair, I'm drowning! People drowning in half an inch of plywood. One man's got his hand under his wife's chin trying to keep her head above wood. And you get a lot of side strokers, you can drag yourself efficiently. And one man's doing butterfly, making no headway, just banging his face. And we're laughing, and it's hilarious. And then I hear this horrible sound. A thud, followed by 1,100 people in the Playhouse Theater simultaneously going, oh. And I went, what? Well, somebody's missing. Oh, of course, Enjoyment Boy on the end has succeeded in swimming off a 7-foot-high stage into a concrete orchestra pit. You can skydive off this thing. I figure he's got to be dead. It sounded like somebody hit a watermelon with a cracked baseball bat. And this weird calm descends upon you when you realize you're going to prison for 10 to 15 years. That's it, that's my life. Then the audience starts laughing. I look, he's not even slowed down. He's doing the crawl in the orchestra pit, still going for it. It's like, thank you, God. The man did not have a bump or a bruise on him. He was so relaxed. And the Winnipeg Free Press was going to interview me. They wound up interviewing him instead. The reporter said, they called him the man who would not stop swimming in the article. The reporter said, what did you experience? He said, I remember clearly, diving over the rail into the icy sea. What? It's nuts. Hypnosis is nuts.
There, let me get back. What did you think about the show? The first part is a regular hypnosis show where people go to have fun. Some people enjoy being hypnotized and do all kinds of strange things. I really like the second part where Mike is not directly in the show, but he's explaining what happened in a show when he had people go on the Titanic. I would have loved to see that show live. So let's move on. From stage shows, we're going to healing hypnosis, retraining your brain to do your bidding to have a better life. So we have an all-powerful imagination. Probably heard about the placebo effect, where even when given sugar pills, it does the effect that the sugar pill is supposed to do. I'm going to make a PowerPoint, a video on the placebo and the nocebo. But anyway, even if the package says placebo and the doctor gives it to some people saying this is a new painkiller for headache, it's going to work even though it's just a sugar pill. Why? Because your imagination imagines that it's something that's going to stop the pain. You heard Mike Mandel talk about the dial for your imagination. You can crank it up. You can crank it up for creativity, but you also can crank it down for anxiety, crank it down for pain. It's one of the strategies used in healing hypnosis. And then we can go very deep into the subconscious mind, finding treasures of wisdom. When I do interactive guided imagery, we have that all powerful wisdom inside of us that knows why we have a condition or problem, a challenge, a pain, when we got it, why it's about, and especially what to do about it. And my job is to pull it out from the subconscious to the conscious so we can actually act upon it. And then the last part is about the daily hypnosis trance. We are in trance most of the time. Some people say 95% of the time. When we're driving, once we have learned to drive, we don't think consciously about all the movements we have to do. We're usually absorbed by our own thought unless something happens. When we watch a movie, that's the same thing. We are in the movie. I remember just reading a book when I was a teenager. I was so absorbed in the book, I did not hear my mom tell me, hey, it's time to help do the dishes. People who are in a sports arena or even watching sports on TV, they are focused. They have a very focused imagination and they don't hear the disturbances around. That's being in a trance. Actually, hypnosis is a very focused imagination towards one goal, and it can be used for good or for evil, like we talked about with a knife. So let's use a model, useful model for the conscious and subconscious mind. It's just a model. A model is something that helps us to make sense of the world, to understand it better. Like we say, a map is not a territory. This is a model. The conscious mind is like a tiny processor if you compare it to the computer, and the subconscious or the unconscious mind is a mega processor. Consciously, we can only think or be aware of 7 plus or minus 2 things at a time. So some people can get overwhelmed if they have more than 5 things in their awareness. Other people can go up to 9. It's in that range. So the conscious mind processes 40 bits of information per second, the unconscious 20 million per second. Speed of processing is between 100 and 150 miles per hour. The unconscious is 100,000 miles per hour. That's the seat of positive thinking, goal setting, and the unconscious is really neutral. It's just programs. It's just playing good programs, whether they're good, whether they're bad. It just plays these programs. Your conscious mind can claim a healthy body. The subconscious, because of programs we have running in the background, can limit our abilities. It can take power over, saying, "No, you're not that healthy, really, and you're not that good. No, you don't deserve that." That's all the programs that we have in our subconscious mind. The conscious mind can tell the body, raise your arm, change your body temperature, although it takes some concentration, slow down your heartbeat, make it go faster. Again, that takes concentration. Conscious mind cannot focus on all the body functions at a time. You cannot focus on your heart, on your digestion, on your temperature, etc. All that is done unconsciously. And once you have learned how to get dressed or how to drive a car, ride a bike, then the subconscious take over to free up consciousness for creative thinking. So that's a model of the conscious sub or unconscious mind. From 0 to 5 or 7 years old, babies, young children are in a delta state. It's very slow brain waves where they are not able to consciously analyze things. They just take in everything that is happening to them. They're being programmed little by little. Think about it. They're getting programs that are going to run for the rest of their lives sometimes. And I came up with the anatomy of a destiny. When I work with some clients, we look at the results that they obtain in their life, and from the results, we look at their action, the action they took or didn't take. Why did they do that? Because of the feelings, the images, the imagination, what they have and what it makes them feel. And these come from the thoughts that are in their energy field. It's like a magnet. They attract these thoughts because of the programs they are running, because of their beliefs. And behind all that is who they truly are. So we get to find who they truly are. And some helpful tips. I have started to do daily little snippets on Instagram. So you can follow me on Instagram at Holistic Dr. Danielle. You can check my Facebook and maybe join my group, Dr. Danielle's Step-by-Step Holistic Health. And you find me on YouTube, Dynamic DR1. And if you want to contact me for a free confidential chat, there's no obligation. I'm not pushy. I haven't learned manipulative techniques to make you buy. I'm there to help you. If you want to work with me, that's fine. If not, that's fine. Hopefully, I can give you some suggestion or lead you in a direction. So go to my website at danieljcoaching.com/discover, and I'll talk to you soon.